This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Pay my homage to the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Again, my deep respect to Venerable Mahasangha and greeting to all friends in Dhamma around the globe. I am Sophia Chok, live from Phnom Penh, together with Sister Jenny Kim, who lives in Seattle of the Washington state from the United States of America. Today, moderator for the Dhamma discussion. Welcome to Dhammika Lai Dhamma Sandhana program. Before we begin our discussion, I would like to inform this program brought to you by Dhammika Lai Foundation, led by Venerable Sokthevi, who currently resides at Wat Tamara Pothiram, Seattle, Washington state of the United States of America. This program purposely aimed at propagating the Buddha teachings in both languages, the English and Khmer. The language is interchangeably every Friday, and sometimes we also conduct on Saturday for special occasions. So like today, we live our discussion in English. Tomorrow we will live our program on the same topic in Khmer language. So we live at 8:30 and 6 a.m. Seattle time. Our main purpose is to disseminate Buddhism locally and internationally, to bring to the attention the essence of the Buddha teaching that is applicable in the daily lives in the society, and especially among the youth, to simplify the teaching of the ancient to the world of modernity. Also, the foundation tried to promote the awareness of Buddhism in Cambodia to the world. We also want to promote the peaceful and mindful living through aesthetic concentration and the wisdom. Today, we are very pleased to present to you a very interesting topic entitled The Heart of the Helper. Last week, we were discussing about the mental health during the quarantine time. And we realized that, while attention goes to people who are suffering or who are facing a difficulty during the quarantine, but the frontline helper are also probably face various challenges as well. So therefore, we would like to bring today's discussion to show our appreciation to all the helpers during this pandemic. And without further ado, I would turn the floor to Sister Jenny to introduce our Dhamma speaker for tonight. So please go ahead, Sister.
Thank you. And hello, everyone. At first, I'd like to give my thanks and gratitude to Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And a big thank you to Dhamaka Life as well for inviting me to be part of this discussion. So I'd like to introduce our first speaker today. We have Bante Kasapat Hun Kamara, who is the Executive Director of International Cambodian Buddhist Center located in Sri Lanka. Bante is also the meditation trainer and is currently resides at Vipassana Dura Buddhist Center in Onong, Cambodia. And we also have Brother Chini. He is a mindful leadership trainer and author of a national best-selling book, Meditation for Energy of Life. He was a former monk for 16 years. And in 2019, he devoted himself to run from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap in order to do fundraising cause for Angkor Hospital for Children. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and start with our first question for Bante Kasapat. We are talking about a helper in the context of the pandemic. What exactly do we mean by this term, and who shall we refer it to? And is there any sutta related to this term?
Yeah, thank you, sister, for the question. And first of all, let me pay my homage to the Triple Gem and dear Venerable Sirs, especially Venerable Muniputo Sok TV, the founder of Dhamika Life, our friends around the globe, especially our speaker and the two moderators. Yeah, before answering the question, let me bring your attention to the topic, the heart of the helper.
I came to the United States when
we have been, much concerned so much about ourselves, about the patient, about the COVID, but the most, but we forgot the most important people to be appreciated, the frontline workers, or we call them the frontline medical caregivers, or the health providers. So that is why we dedicate this time to talk, and in order to appreciate their sacrifice, their commitment, their dedication for the sake of the entire world. So collectively, we selected the word helper in order to refer to everyone who give hands in order to, fight or attack with the COVID-19. That is why we have selected the term helper, in order to recognize and appreciate everyone who involved in the process, in order to bring the normal situation in the society. But in this context, whoever worked for the sake of everyone during the COVID-19, they can recognize, they can be treated as the helper. So let me read this: like frontline workers, like healthcare providers, medical caregivers, like doctors and nurses, and ambulance drivers, especially cleaners, must be paid attention. They are doing great job. Yeah, they clean the toilet, they clean the medical room, they clean the floor, they clean everything to make sure that the medical team are safe enough to provide, the medical safety for the patients. And donors, because there are many donors came forward to donate, even the money, even the mask, even the food, to encourage the doctors. Not only that, some people, they came forward to cheer up or to encourage the doctor by using good words or having different kinds of celebration. And the how to say that, you know that during the COVID-19, the confirmed cases are keeping increasing, and on the other hand, the death is so high, and there are many workers. They bring the dead body to the mortuary or to the cemetery or to the for the cremation or for the burial. So they are great helpers to help our society, and that is why the healthcare providers are named as, on the social media, white cloth forces, or sometimes they are named as compassionate heroes, because the job they are doing during the COVID-19. The reason, to be honest, I prefer the term heroes, because there is a saying: saving one life, you are a hero. The saving 100 life, you are a doctor, you are a nurse. So that is why I want to change the name. That is why they are compassionate heroes, because they are not saving one life, they are saving thousands of lives. And so from the reason we use the term helper in this context, and from a Buddhist perspective, there are many terms used in order to identify the contextual meaning of the helper. It has a lot of contextual definition in the term helper. From Buddhist point of view. Let me read the Pali. We call it Sanghaka, Anuggahaka, Upathayaka, Kappiya, Vayavachaka, Dayaka. So the translation, the direct translation are this: assistant, service provider, sponsor, contributor, supporter, a benefactor, close attendant. So these are the terms we use to recognize the one who has the intention to help others compassionately, from this point of view, not in terms of medical care providers, but any kinds of aspect to ensure that the people are happy and the people are mentally stronger. And that Venerable Ananda was the close attendant to the Buddha, and he had been with the Buddha until the great renunciation, we call it Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha. And it means that he spent around 40 years being with the Buddha, did everything. He was like a doctor, he was like a nurse, he was like a servant, he was like an attendant. He did everything to serve the Buddha. And even the Buddha also was a physician, that he looked after Venerable Bodhigattatissa, whose body was stinking, like having a lot of wound on his body. And another context is there are 4 types of hospitality in Buddhism that you can provide, you can help others in terms of 4 types of hospitalities. One is giving. As I told you, that is why I mentioned the donor, the magnitude of the donor, that you can help others by giving. And the second is piya vachana, pleasant words. You can use your compassionate words to encourage, to motivate to push someone like doctors or nurses who are doing great job. And the third one is welfare of the subject, like it can be social services. And the final one is equality or fairness. What I want to say that in the context of 4 types of hospitality, helper is a great person who intentionally or willingly committing himself to help others. So that is why we name the frontline workers. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the military forces. The police and the army. So they are doing great job also to ensure the social security in a society. So they are helpers from this context. So that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Ponte, for your comprehension on the term helpers. Indeed, the term could not describe fully, the compassion and the kindness and the courage of people who are at the front line, as a worker, including the medical team or, even ambulance driver or even cleaner, at the hospital or at certain facility that necessary, to prevent as well as to treat the patient during this pandemic time. So Ponte have explained from the simple term, but also linked with the Buddha Sutta that also relate with how the Buddha also served as a physician himself, but also a lot of sacrifice or compassion that he had kindly offered to the lay people across the society. And Ponte have highlighted 4 types of hospitality, including giving, motivation, supporting for the welfare of people, etc. This is quite insightful. Thank you so much, Ponte. And before we proceed to further discussion, we would like to invite our Dhamma friends who are following with us right now to watch a video clip that is the interview of a Cambodian American who served as an ICU nurse. How he handled his work as a nurse during the pandemic time. It would be helpful for us to learn, but the video itself just to represent the rest of the medical team, the rest of the frontline worker who have to work out during this time. So I would like to invite our Dhamma friend to watch together for a moment. Please, admin team, help to screen this video.
The lowest time of my career.
ក្នុងនាមជាគិលានុបដ្ឋាកអ្នកមានមោទនភាពជួយសុខភាពនិងសង្គ្រោះជីវិតប៉ុន្តែបន្ទាប់មកអ្នកជំងឺ4នាក់ស្លាប់ក្នុងមួយថ្ងៃអ្នកពិតជាលំបាកចិត្តណាស់
It's pretty tough.
That's why I went to work.
ខ្ញុំទៅឯកសណ្ឋាននេះធ្វើការបើខ្ញុំមានអ្នកជំងឺ COVID អាចចម្លងយើងទុកឯកសណ្ឋាននៅកន្លែងធ្វើការមិនអាចយកមកផ្ទះបានទេ
My name is Van Tatmon. My nickname is Mitch. I came to the United States when
ខ្ញុំឈ្មោះមនវ៉ាន់ថាតឈ្មោះហៅក្រៅគឺ Mitch ខ្ញុំមកអាមេរិកនៅអាយុ12ឆ្នាំខ្ញុំមានអាយុ42ឆ្នាំហើយខ្ញុំជាគិលានុបដ្ឋាកនៅស្ថាប័នថែទាំសុខភាព Innova ដ៏ធំនៅភាគខាងជើងរដ្ឋ Virginia Innova មានមន្ទីរពេទ្យចំនួន5គឺមន្ទីរពេទ្យ Loudoun មន្ទីរពេទ្យ Mount Vernon មន្ទីរពេទ្យ Alexandria មន្ទីរពេទ្យ Fair Oaks និងមន្ទីរពេទ្យ Fairfax ជាទីស្នាក់ការកណ្ដាលដែលជាធម្មតាខ្ញុំធ្វើការនៅទីនោះ
And that's oh my god, I don't have much and a lot of stuff is at
នោះជាអ្វីដែលខ្ញុំមានមិនច្រើនទេរបស់របរជាច្រើននៅកន្លែងធ្វើការព្រោះអ្នកមិនត្រូវយកសម្ភារៈពេទ្យមកផ្ទះទេ
And then grab my wallet.
បន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំយកកាបូបលុយកាតការងារខ្ញុំ
My trusted.
និង Bedford សំខាន់នេះ
I grab my little
ខ្ញុំបេះចេកមួយព្រឹកឡើងគឺប្រញាប់ណាស់
2-3 breakfast bar.
យកនំពីរ3កញ្ចប់និងទឹកមួយដប
I'm out. Takes me about 15 minutes to get ready and
ខ្ញុំរៀបចំខ្លួនប្រមាណ15នាទីហើយខ្ញុំញ៉ាំរបស់ទាំងនេះនៅពេលកំពុងបើកឡានទៅធ្វើការដែលចំណាយពេលប្រហែល45នាទីនេះហើយពេលញ៉ាំអាហារពេលព្រឹករបស់ខ្ញុំ
I've been a nurse for 15 years. Nursing is not an easy job, but the pandemic makes
ខ្ញុំជាគិលានុបដ្ឋាក15ឆ្នាំហើយការថែទាំអ្នកជំងឺមិនមែនជាការងារងាយស្រួលទេប៉ុន្តែការរាតត្បាត Covid-19 ធ្វើឲ្យលំបាកជាងមុន4ដងឯណោះធម្មតាគិលានុបដ្ឋាកនៅក្នុងបន្ទប់សង្គ្រោះបន្ទាន់ម្នាក់មើលថែអ្នកជំងឺម្នាក់ឬ2នាក់ប៉ុណ្ណោះប៉ុន្តែច្រើនលើកណាស់នៅពេល Covid រាតត្បាតខ្លាំងនៅក្នុងតំបន់នេះនៅទីក្រុង Alexandria និងទីក្រុង Mount Vernon ខ្ញុំនៅទីនោះខ្ញុំត្រូវមើលថែឬដឹកនាំការមើលថែអ្នកជំងឺ Covid 5ទៅ8នាក់ជាមួយគិលានុបដ្ឋាក 4-5 នាក់ផ្សេងទៀតដែលមិនមានបទពិសោធន៍ធ្វើការក្នុងបន្ទប់សង្គ្រោះបន្ទាន់ដូច្នេះគឺវាពិតជាពិបាកខ្លាំងណាស់ហើយពេលខ្លះខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាគ្មានសុវត្ថិភាពទេ
patient was really sick.
អ្នកជំងឺពិបាកក្នុងខ្លួនណាស់អ្នកជំងឺដែលឡើងក្រែអុកស៊ីហ្សែនភាគច្រើនត្រូវស្លាប់អត្រានៃរស់មានតែ 10% ប៉ុណ្ណោះនៅពេលនោះដូច្នេះអ្នកអាចយល់បានថាអត្រាមរណភាពខ្ពស់ណាស់មនុស្សស្លាប់ច្រើនណាស់ដែលខ្ញុំរាប់មិនអស់ទេ
It is very lonely. Lonely for me, lonely for the deaf
វាពិត
one.
ជាឯកោខ្លាំងណាស់សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំសម្រាប់អ្នកស្លាប់និងសម្រាប់គ្រួសារដែលមិនអាចមកជួបមនុស្សជាទីស្រឡាញ់របស់ពួកគេដែលបានស្លាប់ទៅពួកគេដឹងអ្វីៗតាមរយៈខ្ញុំម្ដាយឪពុករបស់គេចែកឋានទៅយ៉ាងឯកោយើងមិនទាន់មានហេដ្ឋារចនាសម្ព័ន្ធសម្រាប់ឲ្យពួកគេចូលមកជួបគ្នាឬជួបតាមវីដេអូទេនៅពេលនោះ
I just remember one day I came in,
ខ្ញុំចាំថាថ្ងៃមួយខ្ញុំចូលមកធ្វើការហើយខ្ញុំជាអ្នកដឹកនាំក្រុមពេលនោះខ្ញុំមានអ្នកជំងឺ Covid ធ្ងន់ធ្ងរ4នាក់ដែលត្រូវគេងលើក្រែអុកស៊ីហ្សែនហើយពួកគេក៏ត្រូវប្រើថ្នាំដែលមានហានិភ័យខ្ពស់ផ្សេងៗផងដែរនៅចុងបញ្ចប់នៃថ្ងៃនោះពួកគេទាំង4នាក់បានស្លាប់ហើយនោះគឺជារឿងលំបាកបំផុតក្នុងជីវិតការងាររបស់ខ្ញុំនៅថ្ងៃនោះខ្ញុំមិនបានត្រឡប់មកផ្ទះវិញទេមិនបានប្រាប់នរណាម្នាក់អំពីរឿងនេះទេខ្ញុំឈរនៅជ្រុងជញ្ជាំងហើយយំតិចៗដូចពេលខ្ញុំនៅក្មេងជំទង់អញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំស្រែកយំបន្តិចបន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំដឹងថានេះគឺជាពេលវេលាដ៏លំបាកនេះគឺជាពេលលំបាកបំផុតក្នុងអាជីពរបស់ខ្ញុំសូម្បីតែនិយាយឡើងវិញឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំចង់ស្រក់ទឹកភ្នែកវាពិតជាលំបាកខ្លាំងណាស់ក្នុងនាមជាគិលានុបដ្ឋាកអ្នកមានមោទនភាពជួយសុខភាពនិងសង្គ្រោះជីវិតប៉ុន្តែបន្ទាប់មកអ្នកជំងឺរបស់អ្នក4នាក់បានស្លាប់ក្នុងមួយថ្ងៃអ្នកពិតជាលំបាកក្នុងចិត្តណាស់
I left at a very young age, and most of the decision is not my decision.
ខ្ញុំបានចាក់ចេញមកអាមេរិកនៅវ័យក្មេងណាស់ហើយការសម្រេចចិត្តភាគច្រើនមិនមែនជាការសម្រេចចិត្តរបស់ខ្ញុំទេឪពុកម្ដាយរបស់ខ្ញុំជាអ្នកសម្រេចឪពុកម្ដាយខ្ញុំយល់ថាប្រទេសកម្ពុជានៅពេលនោះគឺគ្មានអនាគតសម្រាប់កូនរបស់គាត់ទេដូច្នេះគាត់ចង់រត់ចេញមកក្រៅបន្ទាប់ពីរបបកុម្មុយនីសបន្ទាប់ពីភាពវឹកវរក្នុងប្រទេសគឺមិនមានអនាគតសម្រាប់កូនទេ
Coming to this country at an age of 12 was pretty tough for me. I
មកប្រទេសអាមេរិកនេះនៅអាយុ12ឆ្នាំវាពិតជាលំបាកណាស់សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំមិនចេះនិយាយភាសាខ្ញុំមិនមានរូបរាងដូចគេខ្ញុំស្លៀកពាក់មិនដូចពួកគេខ្ញុំមិនយល់ពីរឿងកំ pl ែងរបស់ពួកគេទេខ្ញុំជាអ្នកក្រៅនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំដើរចូលកន្លែងណាមួយហើយរឿងដំបូងដែលគ្រប់គ្នាសួរគឺតើអ្នកចង់ធ្វើជាអ្វីហើយខ្ញុំមិនដែលមានគោលដៅអ្វីនោះទេពីព្រោះវាជារឿងតូចតាចបំផុតសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំការព្រួយបារម្ភចម្បងបំផុតរបស់ខ្ញុំគឺសុវត្ថិភាពមកដល់សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិក ចូលចុះនឹងគេនឹងទទួលបានជោគជ័យហើយខ្ញុំពិតជាមិនបានមានផែនការរឿងអាជីពនោះទេខ្ញុំចាំបានថាសម្លៀកបំពាក់ដំបូងដែលខ្ញុំបានពាក់ទៅសាលារៀនគឺម្ដាយខ្ញុំបានទិញស្បែកជើងខិចឲ្យខ្ញុំស្បែកជើងខិចគឺលយនៅក្នុងប្រទេសរបស់ខ្ញុំហើយខ្ញុំស្លៀកខោកាគីនិងអាវស្អាតមួយហើយពេលខ្ញុំដើរចូលសាលារៀនភ្លាមក្មេងៗចាប់ផ្ដើមកេះគ្នាហើយសាច់ចំអកព្រោះនោះមិនមែនជាសម្លៀកបំពាក់លយនៅទីនេះទេខោអាវមិនសមគ្នាពណ៌មិនស៊ីគ្នាស្បែកជើងសម្រាប់ក្មេងស្រីពេលនោះខ្ញុំព្យាយាមធ្វើមិនដឹងប៉ុន្តែបន្ទាប់មកវាកើតឡើងម្ដងហើយម្ដងទៀតពេញមួយឆ្នាំពេលមួយក្នុងឆ្នាំនោះគំនិតធ្វើអត្តឃាតបានកើតឡើងស្ទើរតែរាល់សប្ដាហ៍សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំពីព្រោះការបំពាននិងសម្លុតធ្វើបាបគឺខ្លាំងក្លាពេកខ្ញុំមិនដែលប្រាប់នរណាម្នាក់ទេពីព្រោះពេលខ្ញុំនៅក្មេងឪពុកម្ដាយខ្ញុំមកទីនេះពួកគាត់ក៏តស៊ូដូចខ្ញុំដែរដូច្នេះខ្ញុំបានដោះស្រាយរាល់ភាពតានតឹងដោយខ្លួនឯងរាល់ថ្ងៃយំនៅក្នុងបន្ទប់ទឹកពេលងូតទឹកឬនៅលើគ្រែគេមិនលក់ព្រោះខ្ញុំយំព្រោះខ្ញុំមិនចង់ទៅសាលារៀននៅថ្ងៃបន្ទាប់ខ្ញុំបានក្លាយជាមនុស្សរឹងមាំម្នាក់ដោយសារតែរឿងនោះហើយបន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំក៏បានគិតថាប្រសិនបើនរណាម្នាក់ជួយខ្ញុំនៅពេលនោះប្រហែលជាខ្ញុំនឹងមិនមានគំនិតធ្វើអត្តឃាតនោះទេប្រហែលខ្ញុំមិនបាច់ឆ្លងកាត់ការលំបាកបែបនេះទេដូច្នេះហើយទើបខ្ញុំប្រឡូកចូលក្នុងវិស័យផ្ដល់ជំនួយឬក្លាយជាគិលានុបដ្ឋាកព្រោះខ្ញុំចង់ជួយមនុស្សខ្ញុំចង់ធ្វើឲ្យពួកគេបាត់ភ័យខ្លាចពេលខ្លះអ្នកចូលវះកាត់ពេលខ្លះអ្នកខ្លាចខ្លាំងណាស់ព្រោះអ្នកមិនដឹងថានឹងមានរឿងអ្វីកើតឡើងទេដោយមានខ្ញុំប្រាប់ពួកគេពីអ្វីដែលនឹងកើតឡើងមករៀនពួកគេពីរបៀបទប់ទល់នឹងក្តីបារម្ភភាគច្រើនបើអ្នកដឹងពីអ្វីដែលកំពុងកើតឡើងក្តីបារម្ភនឹងធ្លាក់ចុះការបង្រៀនពួកគេឲ្យសម្រួលអារម្មណ៍និងត្រៀមខ្លួនចូលវះកាត់ធ្វើឲ្យពួកគេមានអារម្មណ៍ធូរស្រាលនិងមិនភិតភ័យធ្វើឲ្យខ្ញុំមានមោទនភាពខ្លាំងណាស់ហើយធ្វើឲ្យខ្ញុំរីករាយនឹងការងាររបស់ខ្ញុំណាស់
to be who I am or what I am.
Okay, thank you so much to our technical team who helped to play this interview. We are sorry, there's a technical confusion that we played the Khmer version instead, but for our Dhamma friends who are following with us, you can also watch the interview that is available on VOA page. So the link is provided in our message box. Before I proceed, I just want to, show the appreciation, by having watched this interview. Is really powerful, and very compassionate. How the medical team have, spent their time and also effort during this challenging time, and not only the effort that they have spent, but from the interview, what is so inspiring to me, but also kind of, how to say, very emotional in the sense that the doctor have said that at one time when he had to handle with the patient who had passed away, 4 of them passed away at once, and it was a lonely night and very sad time for him to handle, so imagine how the kind of increasing rate of the death of the COVID patient in United States, but elsewhere, and now in Cambodia, how the medical team have to cope with this situation is really tough. So I would like to turn the floor to our speaker, Brother Chuni. What do you think about the work of those helpers, and not necessarily just the medical team, but as Phante Kasapa have highlighted, there are many others. So to you, what do you think about their work? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sister. Let me first pay my respect to the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And I'll pay respect to Venerable Gaspar, who is the Dhamma speaker right now, and also to Muni Puto, who is the founder of this community, and to all the sister, the moderator, and all the listener here right now. Once again, thank for the question. I'm always feel honored to be a part of this show. After hearing what Venerable was describing, explaining in a very detailed words of helper, frontline contributors, all of those things, compassionate, and also watching the video, hearing what he was talking about, as a nurse over there, and there's a time he walks in, there's 4 people passed away. I felt very emotional already. When we first decide to do something for other, it's already take a lot of courage. It's already take a lot of big decision. Let's just imagine frontline helper, medical doctor, driver, ambulance drivers, and all those cleaner. Right now, we can imagine, because we just from home and we go to the office and we come back, and we very carefully clean up our hands and everything. Almost every single minute we walked out. But imagine for them, they live with those patients without the compassionate heart. I am sure they would not be able to do what they're doing right now. Not just as a frontline helper, not just as a doctor, not as just nurses, but they do it with the heart. They do it with the compassionate. They do it with, consider as their own holy family. There's a word that I learned from one of the old master, Cambodian master. He said, when we decided to be the helper, we already take in a hard way already, because it's not easy to help people, because we as a human being in a normal way, sometimes we tend to prejudice on our brother, sister, family, but not, for those we don't know, and not for those who are not related to us. But so we can look at the frontline helper right now. We can look at the doctors and the nurses right now. They just help, not because of their parent, not because of their friend, not because of the family, but because of the humanity. It makes them to do what they're doing, the scary work. Sorry to say, the boring work, the scary work, the hard work. So just to feel it, just to feel, I feel goosebumps of what they do. I'm so impressed and admire from my own heart. For us, it's just to go and visit the hospital where there's a COVID patient. We probably already feel scared. I have my own experience, and personally, I've been saying that, when we fear, when we react to the situation, we tend to lose wisdom. We tend to lose we tend to lose panya to solve the problem. But when it happened to me, there's a time I was invited to do a short course training in a place, coaching in a place where they hosted COVID patients. I didn't realize, I walk in confidently, I walk in happily, ready for my work and to help support a few people over there, help coach them. But when they say, in this building, we hosted a few COVID patients, when I heard that, my brain was just like almost stuck. I was like, what? And right away, I feel so hot. I feel so tough in my brain, in my body. And then I started like, it's okay. people working here, and they seem to be okay. They seem to be fine. So this is a feeling. Just I'm not in contact closely with them, but I felt it. But luckily that I've been practicing meditation, I've been practicing Buddhism and train my mind. So within a few seconds, within less than a minute, I try to calm myself back. That's why let's imagine, those frontline helper, those ambulance driver, those survivor, those people who are help, the idea with the patient, I almost cried to stop, but they deal with the patient every day, so we can imagine. So this is how I felt, and talk about the military, the police, and now the country is in curve for about 2 weeks, and we're not allowed to travel at night, after 8 p.m. If we have a paper from work, it's fine. If not, there will be caught. But I think this is the right decision that the government made. But so many police are on the street now. Many people are on resting, but they are still working. So admire for them. Send them my love and my energy for them. So I feel emotional talking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Tony, for your kind word and your sharing a personal experience how you handle situation when you realize that this the building or the people who involved in the course is having kind of COVID positive, but for you at that moment you feel a bit shocked, but you try to do the metaphor compared to those who have to handle directly every day, each moment, and that was something that the American Cambodian American nurse mentioned. He had to. Being a nurse, it is already challenging, but during the COVID time, it is triple challenging for him. And first, to handle with fear, with the safety, but also, when the feeling that, being a nurse, you have to help the patient to survive, but, with the record of death, and not just one, it's 4 or more. How they handle the situation mentally. It is really important for us to recognize that. For them, they also need certain help. It's not just the courage that they have to demonstrate, but the support they need from all of us. So probably this is a reminder that we all have to take part to help prevent the infection together. If we want to extend our support to the medical team, to other frontline workers, be safe. When we are safe, for them it's also be relief. So I would like to turn to Pante Kasapak as well. The same question, what do you think about the work of those helpers during this pandemic? Pante, the floor.
Thank you, sister, for the question. In addition to Brother Chuni mentioned, and everyone knows it's very well, from the social media, that the medical team has been doing a great job for the sake of the patient. And from our context, the helpers, nurses, doctors, military forces, policemen, and cleaners, and even the drivers, they are doing a great job. Because they are helped, as the obvious example is from Brother Chuni. They know that their health is at high risk. I mean, they can be vulnerable at any time. They can be, hit by the COVID-19 at any time, because they work so closely with the patient. So they are taking that risk. They are risking their life for the sake of everyone. And on the other hand, one end, they are working with the patient, and on the other end, they have to be concerned and worry about if they are parents. I mean, what my kids are doing, and what about their online schooling. The worry is immense. So that is why they are taking a great, sacrifice. They're committing themselves for the sake of the society. So what we can say, to be honest, we know theories, but they know how to get it into the practice. And let me, to be honest with you, even I am a monk, because I left the country in 1999, and the same experience I encountered, like the brother who was interviewed in the VOA, yeah. And so the same thing happened to me, that this, because we are Cambodian, and we were so famous, for the Pol Pot regime. So the Pol Pot is the name that Sri Lankan monks call us sometimes when we make the mistake. So this is how we stand up as collectively to be the better person in the society. This is the example one. So just put ourselves into their shoes. The helpers, doctors, how they feel, And for example, we don't go out, we don't go anywhere after the government, announcement we are so afraid of. But how about the doctors? So on the other end, they handle their fear, they handle their stress, and they see that many deaths at the hospital. So everything is stressful, but that is why they are great people. That is why personally, I name them as the compassionate heroes. So they sacrifice everything, their health, their family, for the sake of the patient in the country. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Bante. Yeah, something that sometimes we don't really talk about is the effects on the family, right? When it first started, I was seeing a lot of interviews about how some of these doctors and nurses, they didn't even come home. They just went ahead and rented a hotel right next to the hospital that I worked at, out of fear of bringing COVID back to their family. And so their family is making a lot of sacrifices too, of not having their parents home. And something, of course, me as a parent, I can't imagine. So definitely the bravery of all of these helpers out there, it's almost, I'm always wondering, how can we repay them? Which brings me to our next question is, all of their services that they're doing, they're obviously collecting some merits. And I'm wondering, what are the merits for those who have dedicated their time and their service to helping others? And, what would they receive according to the suttas?
Yeah. Receiving in terms of, collecting merits, that this is the fact that every single of us much concerned about when we're doing something good, what can I be paid off in return, or what kinds of thing that I can get back in return. This is the biggest question being raised even by some Buddhists. But before answering the question, let me define the term merit. In Pali, we call it punya. So, for example, before answering the question, or before defining the term, technically the term, I ask you how you clean your body. We clean our body by having shower. It means using water to clean our body. And yeah, some people not only water, they use the soap, and some people having, you know, kinds of shower lotion or shower gel, and sometimes some people after having the shower gel, I mean after having shower, they have different, you know, cream to apply. You know, the purpose is to beautify your body, or to make yourself cleaner. This is the purpose. So similarly, merit is the, I use the word, is the means, okay? It's the mental means to clean your mind. Merit is the means to clean your mind. And how we clean it? Okay, for example, when you give someone, so giving, I mean the intention of giving is generosity. So when you give someone intentionally, I mean your, how to call it, I'm sorry, your covetousness or stinginess, okay? Your covetousness and stinginess is purified by your generosity. So that is the time we call it merit. Okay, when your mind is purified, temporary, okay, by the positive mentality, it is called merit. For example, as I gave before, covetousness is negative mentality, and it is purified by generosity when you are giving. That is called merit. So in this context, okay, don't think about after my death, what happened to next life, what can I gain from helping someone. As long as you are happy with doing that, you are receiving the merit. Okay, so let me say this. Compassion. So the word compassion will purify what? You know, so before is like when you are moved, okay, mentally moved by the suffering of others, it is called karuna. Okay, like for example, when Sister Chasopia is witnessing Sister Jenny in suffering or hunger or delivering a baby, so that suffering is your, Sister Jenny's suffering is your suffering. So it, and you are motivated to help her, even mentally or even physically, to get rid of that suffering. So we call it a compassion. For example, the dog, when you see the dog is in hunger, you want to, and you are motivated to offer the food because you cannot endure, you cannot take the suffering of the dog. So this is called karuna. So from this context, you know, don't ask me that what the what the doctors or what the helpers can be gained from helping others. As long as they are happy, as long as they are motivated by compassion, they are receiving a great merit. So furthermore, because I want you to understand, and especially I want to our young generation to understand the great philosophy of Buddhism. So this is one point. The second point is, you have ever heard about the merits in Buddhism, and there are 10 bases, meritorious deeds in Buddhism, and you call, you know, the dana in Pali term, in Khmer term we call Tien, Sal, Pioneer, and there is a term we call it Vaya Vajja. Okay, the direct translation is service. Okay, the direct translation of the Vaya Vajja is service. But furthermore, I mean, to understand in depth, let me define the term so it's easy for you to understand how the helpers doing. I mean, how great the helpers are doing for the sake of the patient. they call it like the word service, or in Pali we call it Vayavacha, Tang Tang Kicha Karne Vyavatasa Bhavo Vayavacham. It means that the condition of one, okay, is intent to perform his duties for others. It is called Vayavacha. It is clear that like your mentality or motivation or condition of one who is willingly intent to perform various duties is called Vayavacha. So, I mean, it can be various duties. I mean, as a social worker, as a mom, as a dad, or I mean, it can be, various context. But in this context, what I want to say, when the doctor perform his various duties, not only doctors, the nurses, and as I mentioned before, the policemen and the military forces and the ambulance drivers, when they are intent, when they are willingly, come forward to help others, they are performing one of 10 meritorious bases, because rendering services for the sake of the humanity is one of 10 bases of meritorious deeds. So that is what I want to say. So in conclusion, Vayavacha, okay, because there are 10 bases of meritorious deed in Buddhism. Vayavacha is one. Vayavacha is motivated by compassion. Okay, so in earlier I defined the word compassion. So in order to rendering the services for the sake of someone, you must be motivated by compassion. This is the point, this is a standpoint of Buddhism. So in conclusion, for sure, as long as you are happy, as long as your mind is purified by compassion, as long as you are moved, you are shaken by the suffering of the patient, and you do it more beyond your salary. You risk your life, you risk your everything for the sake of patient. For me, this is a great merit. And let me say this. Buddha also said this. Yo gilanang upatheya somang upathe. The one who treating the patient is treating me. It means that Buddha encouraged his disciples to look after, to take care the patient. If someone is caring for the patient, he is caring for the Buddha. Like it's like this. It's mean that you respect his advice. You are so much caring about his advice. That is why you help the patient. So, and finally, I want to say this. It is rarely seen, among our Buddhists. I mean, to some extent, but in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Thailand, they are promoting so much to help the patient. They are build so much hospital. At remote area for the sake of the poor people. I mean, because they are thinking that a building hospital will lead you to a happy life without diseases. So what I want to say, finally, the great consequence of helping patient, helping someone to get rid of the suffering in terms of the COVID-19, in next life, you will have less diseases. We have more information, but that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ponte. How should I say? It's very comprehensive, and I'm so delighted when hearing your explanation, because again, like we try to ask what those helper would receive. But what you try to explain is in a way for us to also understand that it's not about the receiving, but how this act is counting as giving, or as the way to get rid of the how to say um, something that we have to develop ourselves as well, like being kindness, by giving. So we keep developing by giving. So by giving is not just about to receive from other, but how we get it, to grow the compassion for ourselves. And you also mentioned, like those who are working as a frontline worker now, they are performing one of the 10 bases of the merit. That is so enlightful. And you remind me, the word that we all may know quite well is the word from Jayavarman Sawan, our king, our former king, long times ago. So his famous slogan is, "The suffering of my people is my suffering." So I feel that is so meaningful how you explain this. Thank you so much, Conte, for this. I have learned a great deal, and I believe our Dhamma friend also learned from this. I would like to turn now to Brother Chuni. We realize, how those helpers have tried to work out during this pandemic. Do you foresee any challenges that this helper may face in fulfilling their role, during this time? The floor is your brother.
Thank you, sister, for the question. I thank you, Master Camera. It was a really well explained. It was a really deep explaining about collecting or making merit. I think talking about challenges that they may face, let's hear the word again that Master Hun Kamra was saying, compassionate hero, or we call as a true hero, true helper, if they help from the heart by cultivating compassion to help those. And there's a lot of challenges they face, but we are not in their shoe. We only imagine, we only feel and imagine that probably this is and probably this that. But if we actually there with them and do the work like them, we probably feel right there. But for now, we just imagine and put ourselves in the shoe of those frontline helper, or I would say true human, true hero. They probably not have enough time to rest. They probably there's a lot of worry involved. Every moment that they are helping, every moment that they are contributing. In terms of eating, probably not enough time or proper place or proper time just eating. If they wanted to come home, the stress or so all of those things, we could imagine if the frontline helper, the nurses, parent, they probably worry a lot about what happened to their kid at home because they don't have enough time to take care of their kid. If they are the daughter or the son of the family back home, the parent also worry a lot about them, but they also worry a lot about their parent, what their parents are thinking, while also worry a lot about helping those patients with COVID. So we could imagine, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of worriness involved with it. Even they have a big heart to support, but work, cultivated by compassion, cultivated by I would say just pure heart, but still there are challenging facings along the way. When hearing wonderful Master Gatspat, which is saying a lot about helping, also remind me a quote by the Buddha. The Buddha was saying, "Yeah, monk, if you know how helping others make you or could fulfill you, you're probably gonna go and help more people before you eat the food or before you could do anything. So when you do it with compassion, when you do it with the heart, so those cultivated the fulfillment within us because we don't expect something, but serving other, with heart. My master normally he says serving is blessing. So serving other, if we serve by heart, so we feel that we are blessed because we have a chance to do good things for other people. We have chance to offer help for humanity. So this is true humanity act, a true hero to by the heart. So I this is what I was saying. This kind of some challenging that might face that from my own imagination and my own feeling, but for themselves, probably there are more challenges than what I am just describing right now because we only try to put ourselves. We can just close our eye, and put ourselves in their shoe. Probably we could feel, we could see because I see some picture that people post on Facebook. I feel so touched and emotional because I'm sure they don't have enough time or proper time to eat. They don't have a proper time to sleep. Sometime after they leave hospital, coming home, they probably worry, I might bring disease, or I might bring COVID back home, or I might bring COVID for my kid. So even at the hospital they worry, but even left hospital and come back home, they probably worry that they're going to bring some disease for friends, for family who are stay connected with them as well. So so this is just small. I would say just small thing out of my imagination, out of my putting my feeling into those situations. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for sharing, your imagination and for us to imagine together. In fact, we try to invite the frontline doctor who can come and share briefly how he coped during this situation. But we totally understand during this time, the priority for him is to spend his effort for the treatment, and he send his regard. But also, like when I speak with him, explaining that the show is at night, the show is on weekend. What he also respond that I would not even have a weekend off. Even the weekend I have to spend time. So we can imagine the time for them. It's so tight. There's no time for rest. There's no enough time to spend with the family. So I would like to also hear from Pante Kasapa if you have any additional comment, regarding the challenge that we can think through, for the helper to perform their role at the moment. Please, Pante.
Thank you, sister. And before answering the question, they are highly appreciated, and my blessing to them. And yes, they are doing a great job, and they are facing a lot of toughness and challenges. From my understanding, if you watch the news from the social media, healthcare providers or the frontline workers during the COVID-19, they are sandwiched. They are sandwiched between the government decision and the people pressure. Even though the policemen, even though the military forces, especially the doctor, one thing is they have to satisfy the government decision. They have to show the citizen that the government is doing a great job, and by putting their life at risk. And on the other hand, they have to deal with with the people stress, with the people pressure, because people are petrified by the COVID-19. They're afraid of the situation. So, and it's one example. And for example, the military forces, yeah, sometimes they have to fight with the people. They have to control with the people, and sometimes you ever seen the ambulance drivers and the medical team when they are approaching the home, asking the people to come out. There are some argument. There are different stuff happening there, but they are facing a lot of challenges, a lot of I call it the chaos, and sometimes it can be a chaotic for their life, and on the other hand, that some, I can use the word, I mean, it happens everywhere in the world, even in Sri Lanka. Some politicians are taking advantages of the opportunity to make their party more famous, that they are very much concerned about the people health, about the people issue. So the doctor are being sandwiched between these two pressure, the government pressure and the people pressure, and the most I can use the word, the most devastating thing is happen to their life is sometimes they don't have a break, and sometimes no dinner, no breakfast, 4 days in a row, but and sometimes they see many deaths at the hospital, and saying goodbye to the family without seeing them in person, and they have to console the patients, they have to console the nurses, they have to encourage the people to work. I mean, a lot of responsibility to be taken by the medical team. So I mean, a lot of challenges for them. They have to answer the question to the government, they have to console the patient, they have to answer the question raised by the public, and on the same time they have to be worried about their own family, their own kids, their own wife, their own husband, and yeah, a lot of stress. And I was heard that sometimes nurses, doctors, or the ambulance drivers are depressed. They are left sleepless, depressing, because of the death. And as I told you that this the people who work at the cemetery, they have to bring a lot of the body and to bury or to cremate, or the people who are work at the mortuary keeping the dead body. So you just imagine that when normally you just handle only 1 or 2 dead body, but there are 100, there are 200. So what happened to you, that we are human, we are not robot, so we feel like mentally and physically exhausted. So a lot of challenges. That is why I keep in personally, they are our heroes. I mean, during at this time. So that's all from me.
Thank you, Bante, and thank you, Brother Chini, for answering that question. And it leads us to, with all the hardships that some of these service members might be enduring, what can we do? What can we do to help them? And what can we do to take part to support the mission of the frontline helper? Brother Chini, you want to go first?
First.
Thank you, Sister Jenny, for the question. First of all, if we wanted to help them first, because let's say we can actually go and work with them, right? We have to stay safe at home. So my very first come to mind, if we want to help those frontline helper, compassionate heroes, we need to help protect ourselves first, so that we don't give more trouble, we don't give more work to them. So help protect ourselves. Live according to the Ministry of Health or World Health Organization or the government, which is saying, number one, number two, stay clean and hygiene, and not supposed to associate with the big group. And I would say, for those social media influencer and those who have a lot of big follower, each day probably try to say something, a positive message, or keep remind message to your follower, to those who follow you on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, so that we can spread out the energy to those frontline helpers, to those compassionate heroes, by not just sharing something that is, bring more trouble to the mentality, bring more awareness in a very negative impact to the people. So I would commend, I would suggest, or I would ask for your help, cooperate by sharing tip or positive message each day to remind ourselves, to remind our family, to remind our friends, to remind all those people out there, so that this is the very first thing we can help to release their work already. Otherwise, if we get affected, our friend, our family get affected, so we give more trouble, we give more work, we give more hard work, we give more challenges to those frontline helpers. This is from me.
Thank you. And Venerable Gospel, would you like anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think I should say this. The WHO and the health ministry of every country just only announce and advise people to take care of themselves. I mean, physically, keep the social distance, wear the mask, and wash the hand. But they forgot to tell the people to stay calm and to stay mentally healthy during the COVID-19, and they don't have any kinds of, how to say that, the system, to let the people stay calm and relax, because they have many issues. The biggest issue, not the COVID-19, that is the government. Yes, I am saying the government must understand that. And now, if you cannot change one, what I want to say is, in order to support, in order to assist the frontline workers in attacking, in fighting with COVID-19, we as the people has to follow the old regulation they set for us. And our tips we discussed in previous show. You have to follow it, and meditating, do exercise, and absorb the fresh air in order to keep yourself healthy. It means that you are helping them. The more patients we are providing to them, the more suffering they will have. So this is you have to understand. And you know why? Because they are stressful sometimes. The medical equipment, the medical tools are not enough, and they are worrying about that. No, not enough bed, not enough saline, and so on. So that is why we have to be very careful. If you cannot help them by donating any kinds of stuff, stay healthy mentally and physically. This is one thing. And my message for the people who are being quarantined: you must stay calm. Don't act aggressively with the ambulance drivers or the doctors or the nurses. Because why? Because they are fighting with the world's most dangerous enemy. And COVID-19 is invisible. It's invisible, and it is still mysterious to everyone. And you cannot blame them. You are a doctor. Why you cannot say that? Why you cannot do that? No, they are helpless, because I mean, the medical tool has no ability to detect the virus of COVID-19. So even the doctor, they are just helpers. To be honest, they are not doctors, they are not nurses, they are just helpers. They just help us to heal ourselves, not to cure ourselves, because COVID-19 is invisible and it is the most dangerous enemy we are fighting with. They are not like the visible enemy when we are invading any country, because we can see each other, we can fight. But COVID-19 is not that easy. So that is why I am, demanding and requesting the people are being guaranteed to stay calm and try your best to assist the frontline workers. That's all from me.
Thank you so much, Ponte and Brother Tony, for sharing your thought earlier. How we individual can support the mission of the frontline helpers during this pandemic. Given time, so we come to nearly end, but before we end the show, I would like to give the floor to both speakers. If you have any final message to the helper, especially, so that we can extend our appreciation and support mentally at this moment. Please, Brother Chini and then Ponte Gasapat.
Should we give the floor to Master first?
Sure. So,
Okay.
would you like to go first? The final message, be brief but sharp, please.
Yeah. Thank you, sister, for the final message. And I would like to bless all the frontline workers. May all divine beings bless them, protect them. And may our compassionate hearts be with them. May they be blessed. And what I want to say, dear doctors, dear nurses, and medical team, please take care of yourself. Please take care of your mental health. That is what we want from you. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. That's all from me.
Thank you so much, Ponte. Brother Chini, your message, please.
Thank you, sister. So my message for the final of the show tonight, I just would like to say personally, I'm very grateful to those doctor, frontline helper, ambulance driver, military, government hospitals, so all of those who are helping. I'm grateful, and may you all be blessed, and we wish you all a very successful journey along a very challenging time, hard time along the way. Also, please find time to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and don't forget sometimes, just no matter how hard it is, but give the smile to yourself. Sometimes you probably, at least just give a smile that, I'm happy that I can do this work, while helping a lot of life. And also, two last message. One message goes to those social media user influencers, and please keep reminding your audience and people in a positive way. If they want to help frontline helper, help doctors and nurses, ask them to help themselves to be stay healthy physically and mentally. And the last is just thank you everyone, and thank you our Dharma community, and I'm really glad to be a part of this talk. And I don't know why, but just tonight I feel emotional when talking about these things. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, brother and Ponte. Before we end our live show, I would like to also share the merit from our Dhamma Santana with all living beings, especially to all the frontline helpers, including the medical team, the Even the cleaner, the ambulance driver, anyone, like the Ponte have mentioned, anyone who give hand during this moment so that we all can be safe. So may the merit be shared with them all, and may all be happy and be peaceful. Once again, thank you so much to our honorable speaker for sharing with us tonight or to this morning for the United States time. Finally, I would like to express sincere thanks to Dhammakat Live team, the founder, the director, advisor, and technical team who providing such a wonderful support to make this program possible. Last but not least, thank you to our Dhamma friend who joining and following our live show as always. I am so pleased together with Sister Jenny. We would like to thank you all. And now let us spend a moment practicing the Metta Bhavana or loving kindness meditation together, which will be instructed by Ponte Kassapa on camera. Thank you and goodbye. Our Metta meditation begins.
Hello everyone. Let us practice loving friendliness meditation for oneself. Self-loving friendliness meditation is the first section of Metta meditation. Self-loving friendliness meditation is designed to direct you to happily take care of yourself, to honestly forgive yourself, to truly accept yourself without conditions. Before starting, please find a very comfortable posture. Close your eyes. Relax your head, your shoulders, your arms, and your entire body. Please slowly take a very deep breath 3 times. When it is done, let your breath flow as naturally as it does. Observe your breath without judgment, reactions, and criticism. Just merely observe it as the way it is while you are listening to my Pali Metta chanting. Aham Now, please create a very tender smile on your face. Visualize you are happy and smiling face. You are very happy person with smiling face. Please keep smiling with honest heart because you are going to bless yourself. Please be aware of the phrases which I am going to recite and let yourself honestly feel the real meanings of the phrases. May I be well and happy. May I be free from hatred. May I be free from ill will. May I be free from anger. May I be free from physical and mental sufferings. May I take care of myself happily. May I take care of myself happily. May I take care of myself happily. Now, take your right hand and place it on your chest, and you can mentally repeat after me. In this home, we are family. We live under the same shelter, so we must be kind to each other, be compassionate to each other, be friendly to each other, help each other, respect one another. Be happy every day. Keep smiling with honest heart. Be grateful. Be positive. Forgive even when it's really hard. Before open your eyes, please take again a very deep breath 3 times. Thank you. May you be well and happy.